Cheers. So this is the fourth video I've made today, and you know, this morning I'm thinking, well, should I read my book, you know, the current book I'm on? And I'm kind of like, God, well, I've got so much to say without even reading one page of that, because if I read one page of this, then I'm going to have another dozen videos to make. That's just how it is. I'm just in this realm of consciousness, which is embracing and enveloping and inspiring. It's just intriguing. It just when I speak with people that don't have this life force, I inquire, sometimes long and hard, you know. Sometimes, you know, I have had people that have consulted with me to see if I can find the root of their issues. And of course the root of their issues, unless of course they're possessed, lies in their childhood. And when we look at how people are, what their programs are, how they've been formatted, how they've been conditioned, how they've been schooled and, you know, parented and all these sort of things, it's a shock to people's system when you tell them that they're just like computers. What's happened is that you started off with a motherboard, and it wasn't empty, by the way. You see, this is the whole thing about nature and nurture. You are blessed or cursed with a certain nature. You have a certain propensity to be a certain variety of person, whether that be insecure or, you know, overly secure, introverted, extroverted, all different sorts of ways that we can look at, you know, why human beings vary so much. And that's even before we've started with the nurturing facet. You see, the nature is the DNA. It's the passing of the baton of certain characteristics that our ancestors have had. And so we've got all those to contend with. And it's kind of really unfortunate, because if you have a parentage who have suffered from negative dispositions, then oh fuck, how unfortunate to have those bestowed upon you, bequeathed to you. How unfortunate that you, being a chip off the old block, has continued to take on their personality traits when they're not even dead yet. It's kind of like, this is why lots of people resent their parents, because they blame them for the shit stuff that they have been born with. I'm going to kill you. There is one fly I am going to kill. I will give nature quite a lot of chances, but if there is something that is so annoying and persistent that wants to keep trying my patience, I will kill. But I only do this with flies, because everything else you can just flick off, or you can wave off, but flies, they just keep coming and going and coming and going and coming, until in the end they have to die. Right. You don't get this on Infinite Waters. You don't, dear. No. Because it's not real. You never hear him burp. You never hear him fart. You never see him scratch his arse. You never see him do any fucking thing. That's like talk bollocks. And, you know, he's become very wealthy from talking his bollocks to idiots. And there's a lot of idiots about, isn't there? Wow. I made a video yesterday, I think it was, but I didn't upload it because I'd already given you so many. But it was just like how I'm in heaven every day. I am actually in heaven. There is no doubt about it. This world is an incredibly beautiful, amazing miracle. And this body is also a miracle. And the body born onto the world, which has been born to experience and appreciate all of the wonderful gifts of God, gifts of the cosmos. When you look, if ever you have the freedom to do this, if ever you can step outside your myopic, egotistical, pain-ridden minds that you've been cursed with by things like the Bible, if you can step outside of that, and you see, the Bible tells you it's all up there, everything wonderful's up there, you know, it's not here, ooh, it's not in you, no, it's not out here. Oh my God, what are you fucking talking about? This world is a miracle. And if you have been gifted with I suppose, the natural human state without all this shit, then you can see and enjoy around you just an incredible experience. Every single second of the day, I'm having an incredible experience. And I can't get my head around people who can't see that. I'm like, well, you've got to be muggles then. And then, of course, you know, it makes me very philosophical, because it's kind of like, okay, look, if I look at your issues, and your issues, well, I don't have enough money, or oh, my mother was cruel to me, and I'm like, get over it then. Oh, seriously, get over it. Open your eyes. Can you not see the beauty in the world about you? Oh yeah, well, it was my mother. Oh really? And you look how closed down people get because they've felt persecuted or afflicted, and they could never get over that. That's why one of the tenets of Buddhism is just non-detachment. Just detach yourself from that. Why do you want to be imprisoned by that for the rest of your lives? It doesn't make any sense unless you're a masochist, unless you want to keep punishing yourself day in, day out with the same old loop thoughts that you're not good enough, you're persecuted, you know, your mother was cruel to you, why you, poor you, and all these things. You just got to rise outside this silly ego. That's what you got to do. But how many people have that level of consciousness to take mastery over the emissary? You see, Ian McGilchrist, he writes this book called The Master and His Emissary. The Master is the high state of consciousness, and the emissary is the ego. The ego thinks it's the master. It would like to be, and it will be, if it is allowed to be. And unless your higher state of consciousness takes jurisdiction and beats the ego into a level of submission where it belongs, it's kind of like ego. Look, you tell me a few things about this world, and you know, some of them are kind of like valuable, but most of it's bullshit. And you're not king of this fucking castle. You're just a fucking idiot program. And so I'm going to beat you the fuck down, and I'm going to fucking lock you into a little cage. I'm going to call upon you when I want to hear your opinion. Until then, shut the fuck up. That's what we should be doing with our ego. But the vast majority of people, they don't even think about who's here. They just don't think about who's here. And the ego has autonomy. And if they ever did think, they would think that they are this thing that's thinking, yeah, well, I don't like this, and I don't like what you're saying, and what he said over there. Who's doing that? Who's saying that? Who's bringing you down? Who's making you revel in hell? Who's doing that? This stupid voice inside your head. Ego, programs, bullshit. And so, oh my goodness, what a joy just to be relieved from that burden. So, how do we manage to do this? Well, I mean, in my estimation, from putting a lot of research into this, people, and you know what some of you realise, and what, look, I've had 500 new subscribers within the last month. You don't know what I'm about, you don't know what you're dealing with here. Some of you are kind of intrigued, and some of you may be on your back foot, and there's all different sorts of people that are watching me now and trying to work out what I'm speaking about. But, you know, I'm speaking from a depth that few human beings have been to. That's where I'm speaking from. And I'm speaking from the height of where few human beings have been to. So I've been to hell and I've been to heaven, which are human concepts. And so I've learned a thing or two about this world. And my higher self came online about 14 years ago, when the cosmos gave me an experience which would transform the way in which this thing felt and saw the world. And so prior to that, the body was governed by the ego, and the ego served me very, very well, because it was a very powerful ego, a very competent, strong ego, and it took me all around the world doing all these sorts of things, and engaged me with a whole myriad of experiences that the vast majority of people would only ever dream about. But then the ego got carried away, and it was having more sexual encounters, it was having more drug encounters, it was drinking more alcohol, it was grabbing at more riches and trinkets of the world, and it was a very powerful force to be reckoned with. But slowly the higher self was coming online, and it was presenting to me the ego. Not to me, the ego. It's presented to the ego. Are you as self-made as you think you are? Are you enjoying yourself as much as you think you are? Seems to me you're getting through a lot of sexual encounters, and you know you're not happy with any of them particularly. You keep moving on. Seems to me you're travelling all around the world, doing all these death-defying things, and so you're on to the next, experience, and the next, and the next, and the next. It's like you're a junkie for adrenaline, man. What's wrong with you? You see, the ego is vacuous. It's vacuous. There's nothing there. You can keep having all these experiences, and I've had so many experiences, and I really enjoyed every single one, being fucking great. But I was just on for more, the bigger, better deal all the time, the BDB, bigger, better deal, BBD, and it's all well and good, it's all great, and I still lend myself to doing things like that, you know, to this day. But I was introduced to something else, something far deeper and richer, whereby you don't have to actually do anything to feel immaculate, to feel blessed, to feel like you are the cosmos and all these sort of things. And that's when you are a self-realized cosmic conscious entity. And when you experience that, it's a whole different ballgame. Now look, this brown ale is quenching my thirst, it's satiating my body, it's stimulating my brain, it's giving me feelings of pleasure. Who likes these feelings of pleasure? Well, the hedonistic part of the human being likes pleasure. They're sort of seeking pleasure. So most of us, given the opportunity, would seek pleasure endlessly. And we can see this as a trait of nature. It's kind of like my squirrel. My squirrel seeks pleasure, and all the other squirrels around are seeking pleasure. Now, where does the pleasure derive from it derives from the satiation that they are getting momentarily from eating food. The food is satiating their basic requirements. It's mentally stimulating, and these foods that they are getting, the wild ones that unlike Providence was brought up on this stuff, but the wild ones, when they get tasting cashew nuts, Brazil nuts, it's kind of like, fuck, there is a heaven. Yeah. And so this is what the satiation of the body will bring about, and the ego, and will seek all these points of satiation and pleasure, and that's called hedonism. But outside of hedonism, we can find a deeper level of pleasure, which comes out of stepping outside of the ego, and we completely immerse ourselves into spirit, God consciousness. And when we do that, the ego doesn't have anything to do with that space, and it can get jealous, it can become very confrontatory, and this is why in the initial stages of spiritual awakening, it's a very arduous state to be in, because the ego is fighting tooth and nail for its autonomy. It wants to keep full autonomy over this body, but when spirit comes online, it knows it's on or fighting a losing battle, because it cannot fight and match spirit. Spirit is far superior. But you see, spirit knows and understands that the ego is a necessary requirement for the earth experience, and so the spirit can't eradicate the ego. It has to learn to work with it. And ego, once the spirits come online, it knows that the spirit is vastly more superior, and it also knows that it can't be diminished, and so therefore then what happens is, when we have been spiritually awoken, we learn to work with each other. And in my book, I take the reader through all these stories, and what I'll say about my book, that my book is the world's first spiritual Bible. It is a very, very powerful human experience for those who have the receptors. You've got to have the receptors. If you are dead, if you are numb to life, if you are completely programmed by the ego, you will not be able to receive it, because spirit wrote that book. And if you're not in touch with your spirit, you won't know what I'm speaking about, and your ego will be saying, yeah, that's not real, that's bullshit, you'll have all this stuff. But if you set your ego aside and go on the journey, on the ride, then you'll have a whale of a time, and you'll be fascinated from beginning to end. And so it's just going to take time before the world recognises that that is the world's first spiritual Bible, written for the common man. And it will make the Bible completely obsolete, and it's the new version of the Bible. It's something that is going to take the spiritually connected human being into a new dimension in the future, because this dead desert dogma, it has run its course. It's over. It's over for Christianity, for Judaism, and for Islam. It is over. The world, the human being, consciousness needs something else. They may have served their purpose once upon a time, but now it's over. And yeah, you know it's over. Ding dong, ding dong. And we know what time it is, right? It's time for you to relegate yourself to the archives of human history. It's over. You've had your day. You had your say. It was a pathetic attempt, by the way, but you've had it. It's done. Spirit, human consciousness is moving forward. And so, everybody on the whole planet will have the world's first spiritual Bible on their shelf. Sooner or later. And when they do, that's then they will really start to embrace this life experience. when they've got rid of their dogma, when they've set the ego aside and they've realised what this human experience is all about. And so, let me say a little bit of something now about viewers who get it, who grok me, man. The ones that are rocking with me, the ones that have been around forever and love the Awake and Brave videos. Yeah, you know, thank you, welcome. I appreciate and value you. Now and again you say something to me which kind of like cool. Some of you say something once every 5 years or something like that, but you know, I suppose something's better than nothing. But you're still there, you see, that's the thing. And throughout the years, it's a curious thing, because it isn't really possible for anyone's subscription to go down. Even if people find what you're saying objectionable and they unsubscribe, well, your videos are going to be seen by new people every single day, and so they're always going to be subscribing. And and most people, when they subscribe, they'll never go back and unsubscribe. They'll never go, oh, I'm going to unsubscribe, unless they've got a bee in the bonnet, unless they're like, their ego's completely taken over. I'm going to show that person, I'm going to unsubscribe. But of course, the next day they'll be tuning into the station or to the channel because they're addicted to it, and so they think, you know, they're causing me pain by unsubscribing. But you know, all they're doing is cutting their own nose off to spite their own face. And you know, eventually they'll have to end up subscribing again because their psyche needs it, because their psyche overrides their ego, because the psyche is more powerful, you know, the cosmic consciousness. So, people that have been around for years, by the way, that constitutes 50% or less of my viewers these days. So what is there? There's 1,000 subscribers now, and as soon as my videos went up, you know, whenever I put the channel up several months ago, then most of the existing subscribers found the channel because you got fed, and it's kind of like, wow, great, cool, you know, I'm really happy that you're back, and you know, this and the other. But then, of course, there's another, you know, 50% now that have joined the show who have known nothing about me. And so, you know, these are the people that slowly have to be awoken and enlightened to the message that I'm giving. And so I have to say from time to time that I've been doing this for like 10 or 12 years, made thousands and thousands of videos, and I've said a lot of stuff. And those of you that are just finding this channel are just, you know, it's kind of like if you join a mountaineer within the last 1,000 meters of reaching the summit. That's what you've done. And I don't even know, to be fair, whether I've reached the summit and I'm just continuing just for the crack. But I keep an open mind about it. I think probably there's many summits. You just keep reaching the summit, and then you realise that there's a camber that goes on, and you know, will present you another summit and another summit. I think that's how it is, because even with our top scientists, they keep discovering more and more and more and more and more, because it's endless. Because consciousness is growing. Consciousness is experiencing itself, and it's growing from, you know, all of the input, and it's just going to keep producing new stuff, and there is no end to it. It's infinite, and so there is no ultimate answers. There is no truth. You know, there's just some sort of an idea of some variety of truth that we can feel as if we have at any given time in our journey. But of course, you know, it doesn't take long before there's another truth that supersedes or overrides that one, and so then we get long in the tooth and we go, I thought I knew the truth 5 years ago, and then I didn't, and then another truth and another truth and another truth, and so, you know, I think most of us, old viewers in any case, we've resigned, because you've been on this journey with me, we've resigned ourselves to this human experience being vastly too complex for any of us to work out. Even accumulatively, all the billions and trillions and gazillions of human beings that have been, whatever we know now is the height of human intellect and consciousness, and we still don't know anything, do we, to be fair? And so that's how it is. But yeah, you know, we're all on this journey and we all perceive things in our own way, and I will deliver many different varieties of videos, I'll address many different varieties of things, and so there really is something for everybody, and I'm never going to turn everybody on all the time, and you know, it is my endeavour to rattle cages and twist melons and have people out of sort, because it is an opportunity for reflection upon your own biases, programs, ego and all that sort of thing. And by the time we have addressed these issues so many occasions, we become used to it and we accept things. You see, this is the Buddhist tenet of acceptance. We accept that, you know, we don't understand what's going on. There is no truth, we can't find truth, and we shouldn't believe that there is a truth. And if we've got any belief, then, you know, just brace yourself for the day when you discover that that belief doesn't live up to whatever you expected it to believe. And this is the whole thing about faith, you see, because faith, it keeps moving the goalposts, because faith is over and above belief. And again, in my book, I write very extensively and deeply about what faith is and what belief is, and how they can serve us and how they can work against us and those sorts of things. But when we look at faith, faith is always just beyond reality. It doesn't matter what reality, what beliefs you bust, or what beliefs you discern that are no longer true. Faith is always just beyond reality. And that's the whole thing about faith. It never ever will come into reality. It's always outside of reality. That's its nature. That's the beast that it is. It's a fiction, it's a fallacy, it is empty, there's nothing there. It's a carrot on the end of a stick, people. That's what faith is. So when I speak about faith, and the greatest tenet of Islam and Christianity is faith, well, it's a carrot. It's a fucking carrot on the end of a stick that nobody will ever come to know the veracity of it. Because when we are fully proper dead, well, you know, we're somewhere and we know not where. And all of these hypotheses and speculations of paradise and heaven, it's just silly pipe dreams, people. Silly pipe dreams. I can't think for the life of me why any human being would want to discount this reality to the degree whereby you hate it, you don't want to be here, you dismiss it. I speak about the Maya and the illusion because it all is Maya and illusion, but I'm more speaking about the beauty and the magnificence and the magic and the wonder and the charm. I'm always, you know, singing praises non-stop about the magical, deceptive illusion. And so, you know, I'm embracing the illusion. I love the Maya. It's fantastic. And, you know, I don't consider that this Buddhist Maya is any more deceptive than, you know, when your partner tells you that they love you. It's deception beyond measure. Because if you ask really what is love, what's their love, what does it mean, then it's all going to boil down to, well, what you're doing for them. Yeah, well, you know, you provide this and you serve that and you tell me this and you do this for me. It's all about me. As soon as you stop doing stuff for me, that's satiating me, oh dear, you'll discover that the love is gone. And so, yeah, so what's fucking love? It's the satiation of egoic desires. That's what love is, people. What is bliss? Let's have a look at bliss, because bliss doesn't have anything like the connotations that love does. Bliss is an ecstatic state. Bliss is cool. Yeah. Nobody owes you anything with bliss. Bliss is just a state of mind. It doesn't pertain to anybody or anything. It's just something that comes about. And that's what God consciousness is. God consciousness is bliss. It's a place we can find ourselves when we cut all the bullshit out, basically. And so for those of you that, you know, really want to encounter this bliss, then don't be having a partner. If you've got a partner, you ain't no bliss. You ain't getting no bliss. Because you've always got that bullshit pertaining to the partner, the insecurity and the things you've got to do, you don't want to do, and the compliance that you have to, oh my God, on and on and on and on. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. This is why these gurus, they don't have partners. Fucking partners. They realise that the only thing of any value, ultimately, is their blissful state of mind. And the rest of it is just the crack. You're just having the crack. That's what we're doing, just having the crack. And this pleasure to be had on this hedonistic journey, there's a lot of shit that we've got to deal with also. And so what do you do if you've got a lot of shit? Well, you because you've probably got 50% shit and 50%, you know, great stuff, then you got to try and see if you can get some great stuff out of this shit. How can you transmute that shit into great stuff? Well, you look for the gems, you look for the meaning, you look for the wisdom, you look for the experience, the value of that, and then you go, actually, this negative shit is pretty cool, really, because it wasn't for all this negative shit, I wouldn't be like I am now. I wouldn't have all this wisdom, I wouldn't have all this experience, I wouldn't have all this, you know, genius perspective and outlook on life. So thank you, pain and suffering and trauma. You've been my rock. You really have. Anyway, people, I've got another level of ecstasy that I need to engage in now, and this doesn't concern you, it just concerns me and the cosmos. You know where I'm coming from, yeah? So catch you dudes later.